Investigators race to find the cause of botulism contamination in ByHeart infant formula. Dodge Dexter was just a month old in August when she developed constipation, gas, and tummy discomfort symptoms that her pediatrician chalked up to normal baby development. Looking back at the photos, she was losing weight. She looked sick, said her dad, Stephen Dexter. And the entire time during the decline, Mom had been saying something was wrong. That something turned out to be infant botulism, a condition caused by the spore of the bacteria that was growing in her gut, producing a toxin considered to be the most powerful in the world. It was poisoning her nerves and gradually paralyzing her. Rose is one of at least 31 infants who have developed botulism after consuming powdered formula from the company ByHeart. The California Department of Health conducted a test of the opened can of formula that had been fed to the infant, and those tests found Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria that makes the toxin, spurring a nationwide recall of certain batches. Days later, the recall expanded to all ByHeart whole nutrition infant formula cans and anywhere packed product. Last week, the independent company hired by the manufacturer was found of the bacteria in 5 of 36 samples across the 3 lots of unopened cans of formula. Based on these results, we cannot rule out the risk that all ByHeart formula across all product lots may have been contaminated, the company said Monday. The number of illnesses in this outbreak may rise as officials reopen investigations into cases of infant botulism from earlier in the year. Already, it is certainly the largest foodborne illness outbreak that I've heard of 32 years due to the infant formula, said Attorney Bill Marlow, who specializes in litigating food poisoning cases and is representing the Dexters and 2 other families in lawsuit against ByHeart. This outbreak has me very worried. Dr. Steve Abram, the neonatologist and expert on pediatric nutrition at the University of Texas in Austin, says he also doesn't remember ever seeing this many patients sickened by baby formula. This is the insane level of patient babies affected. I think we have to go back very far to find this many babies affected by the disease state from contaminated formula, he said. Despite the growing numbers of illnesses, he's worried that people aren't aware of the recall or the severity of the outbreak. We have this disturbing report of 10 days after the recall. People are going into stores and still find cans of ByHeart, Abrams said last week. This recall is testing some rare untested waters that we haven't seen before. ByHeart would not comment on pending litigation, but the company said in a statement that it is doing everything we can to ensure this investigation reveals the solutions and as in understanding cases of the infant botulism broadly. That's what parents and medical community and we deserve. You deserve. Or although ByHeart said November 11th that it had recalled all its infant formula, the FDA said last week that it has received a report that some of the product is still on store shelves in multiple states, including at major chain stores like Walmart, Target, Kroger, and Sprout. It has also been sold through online marketplaces, including to some customers overseas. Consumers worldwide should not use any ByHeart brand infant formula, as all ByHeart products are included in this recall, the FDA said. Mueller said that each retailer's responsibility to remove recalled product from the shelves, and that it's not clear why the word hasn't gotten out to all stores. Searching for the sources. It's also not clear how the formula, which is made with organic whole milk from grass-fed cows, and advertised itself to health-conscious consumers as the patented protein blend that's all as close to human breast milk as possible, became contaminated. On Monday, ByHeart said it's working to find the root source of the cases through the rigorous audit of every step of our product development chain, from suppliers and raw ingredient through to packaging and transportation. This includes testing more product samples. Botulism is a unique problem in food poisoning. Others get sick from ingesting the toxin that's made by the bacteria, often by eating improperly canned food. Babies whose guts aren't yet fully developed fall ill after ingesting the spores of the bacteria, which then colonize their gut and begin producing the toxin. If you think about seed like a plant seed, spores are like the same burden, only produced by bacteria, said Dr. Christine Schuchil, a food microbiologist at the University of Wisconsin Madison's Food Research Institute. They package their DNA and kind of like a protein shell, like a seed, that prevent them from being killed in harsh environment. Spores can survive pasteurization, the heat treatment that destroys the other type of pathogen in milk. ByHeart formula used the whole milk powder as the ingredient, as well as dairy and other dairy ingredient. Any of those ingredients really could be a source of spores. There could be a accumulation of spores on the equipment. I don't know, said Schill, who previously worked as a research microbiologist for the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Schill said the botulinum spores have been found in milk powder in the past, though at very low concentrations. A case of infant botulism linked to the powdered infant formula was published in the medical journal in 2005. It will be critical to find out how high the concentration of spores are in the formula that's been tested, Schill said, and those levels may help point investigations in the right direction. The only treatment for infant botulism, Stephen Dexter said he bought the first can of ByHeart formula for Rose after they got home from the hospital, and uh, his wife had trouble making enough breast milk. It was kind of a desperate move, he said. He wasn't sure what to get and went to a natural grocery chain, assuming they would have some alternative selections. He looked for the most expensive formula, figuring that would be higher quality. ByHeart sells for about $40 a can. He said, all the things I was looking for. He said, all the things that I thought it would not want, as it had a bunch of notes on there, which seems good to me, and so I purchased that, he said. Rose did well on the formula, Dexter said, until she didn't. After a few weeks of subtle changes, he tried to wake Rose one day for a normal feeding, but she wouldn't wake up, and it was the moment of, oh, we gotta go. That's when we took her to the emergency room. She couldn't move her arms or her legs. Uh, Dexter said the doctors tried to gently lift Rosie's head and shoulders to see whether she could hold them up, and she couldn't. They did a blood test and then used a needle to collect the clear fluid that surrounds the spinal cord and the brain. Doctors told the baby's parents that they suspected the muscular dystrophy or botulism. Infant botulism happens a little bit from the top of your head down, so you first might notice droopy eyelid, or some parents notice like their infant's expression are not as expressive, uh, said Dr. Erica Pan, a pediatrician who is the state public health officer with the California Department of Health. It is slow progression. That makes the early symptoms hard to spot. Each year in the United States, fewer than 200 infants developed this type of botulism, and as long as they are diagnosed in time, the condition can be fatal if it paralyzed their lungs. The cases all eventually come to California Department of Public Health, which has the infant botulism treatment and prevention program. The program is the legacy of Dr. Stephen Arnon, chief of the Infant Botulism Treatment and Prevention Program at the California Health Department, who dedicated his life to finding the treatment for infantile botulism. That treatment is called baby beak for botulism immune globulin. It's made from the plasma, the clear part of the blood of donors who've been vaccinated against botulism. It's the only treatment available in the world for the condition. It's also an orphan drug, meaning it's not profitable for pharmaceutical companies to make. The process is expensive, and that's not a large market for it. So the California Department of Public Health makes it. It's still very expensive, costing nearly $70,000 per treatment, but it's so effective that it cut the time a baby may have to spend in the hospital by the average of 3.5 weeks, meaning it easily saves them more money than it costs. The California Health Department says it has treated nearly 2,200 infants with the baby big since it was approved by the FDA in 2003. From August 1st through November 19th, it said that 107 infants nationwide has received the baby big treatment. The doctors gave Rose a dose of baby big partly on faith. They didn't have a confirmation that she had botulism when they treated her, but soon after she got it, her condition began to improve. Stool testing finally confirmed botulism just a few weeks ago. I feel like it was a nightmare. The California Infant Botulism Program does the thorough case investigation for each patient. They asked about exposure to dust or honey, which can be another source of the spores. They also asked about what formula the child uses. Often we just don't find the source, Pan said. Starting in August, Pan said the agency began to get more calls than usual to the infant botulism hotline. In taking the case histories, they learned that about half of the babies are formula fed, and about half of those had consumed ByHeart. That was the red flag since ByHeart accounts for only about 1% of all formula sales nationwide. It's much higher proportion than you would expect, and that's what raised the alert, she added. The state contacted the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to its findings and issued nationwide alert November 8th, when just two specific a lot of formula were recalled. The Dexters had no idea that the formula uh, they were feeding their daughter might have been the source of her illness. They continued to give it to her even after she got home from the hospital. Then they got a call asking whether they feed Rose from either of two specific lots of the ByHeart formula. Stephen, who repairs the pianos for the living, had kept all the cans to store the part of he uses. None of my numbers match the recalled numbers, he said, but they stopped giving the formula to Rose. Additional products are recalled on November 11th. After weeks of panic and worry about their daughter, they are relieved that she was back home and getting better. But the recall was stirred all those emotions up again. I feel like it was a nightmare. All the things that happened for us, said her, who still regrets that she wasn't able to breastfeed. You just keep getting more and more angry, just kind of reflecting and going, how did this happen? Stephen said. Rose is recovering. She continued to see gastroenterologist every few months to make sure her gut is healing. For now, investigators are racing to find the exact cause of infections before more babies get sick. I hope we can find the source of the outbreak to prevent future infant botulism outbreak. Still said, it is heartbreaking that such a vulnerable population can be subjected to the horrible disease.